What's up, guys? It's Hedgie, and I have the answers to your questions from the AMA 1 million channel view celebration. There doesn't seem to be that many, so we'll go ahead and just answer all of them. If they're appropriate. If the inappropriate ones, we'll skip. Alright, so Black Jesus asks, why are you so awesome? Thanks for the compliment, man. Nabin, this looks to be Russian. Mkhetakb, he asks, Hedgie, how many times a week do you kappa your kipo? I'm not sure what that means, but I think I know what that means, and I don't think that's appropriate. Have you seen Ziggy's top secret vendor recipe? Yeah, I was there when it happened live. I died a little inside. The paginator, he says, do you have a full-time, or do you have a job? Are you a student? What do you study? And how old are you? I'm 31. I study computer science, and I'm an IT consultant. What got you into PoE? Did you stream games before PoE? Why and when did you start streaming? What's your all-time favorite build? Peter Kumlasi, that's quite a bit of questions. What got me into PoE? Basically, real-life friends begging me to play it for months. And the only reason I didn't do it before was because the skill tree looked so damn complicated. And I was like, man, ain't nobody got time for that. And the #1 streamer at the time was Kriparian. He actually deterred me from the game for a long time. Every single time I tuned in, all he was doing was ground slamming, ground slamming. I thought it was like a crappy looking skill. It did not appeal to me. It wasn't until Noogie started streaming Lightning Arrow that when I saw that, I just fell in love with that skill, and I was like, oh my god, I gotta do that. But yeah, if it wasn't for Kriparian, I probably would have installed it much sooner. Alright, so did I stream games before PoE? I streamed World of Warcraft, 10-man rating, and 2v2s, 3v3s, and PvP, 5v5. At that time, I think I had like 20 to 40 viewers watching me play World of Warcraft. That was mainly from people on Rampage, just watching, Paladin PvP action, or people watching the raid scene in the 10-man hard modes, strats and all that stuff. When and why did you start streaming? I started streaming in June 2000, or actually I started streaming in February 2013. That's when I started streaming World of Warcraft, so that I would have proof, empirical proof, when people were saying, oh, I didn't stand in fire, or I was like, really? Okay, let's go see exactly what happened. Then I quit PoE, or I quit World of Warcraft around June. And in June, that's when I started streaming Path of Exile full time. Why I started streaming? Well, mainly it was because frapsing was becoming more and more impractical. It was filling up my hard drive, and I was constantly having to, do maintenance with it, like deleting the VODs, saving the ones that I wanted, clipping it. And Twitch was an awesome resource where it would store it on their servers, and I can go watch it. So that was a huge help, and then it just happened to be a happy accident. You guys just kept coming in and coming in. I was playing a CI Fizz Wander, and you guys wanted to know all about it. Actually, it was called a Batman Wander. Let's see if we can Batman Wander reminisce a little bit. Yeah, really good Google search, top 5. But the reason why it was called Batman Wander was because this is how the skill tree used to look like. And when I took a seat back and I just looked at this from a glance, it looked like the skeleton of a Batman, and that's what kind of made a signature on my stream. In fact, it's like part of my wallpaper. I don't know if you guys noticed, but there's like a bat signal, so there is like some history to it. What's my all-time favorite build? Any one of the builds that I made that clears really fast and efficiently in high-end maps. I don't really care so much for the early to mid game, but I really like the map scene and PvP. So all those builds that would include like Hedgie Broliff, Hedgie Purple Blast, Hegemonica, the Batman Wander, Hegita, the Crit Flicker, CI. Even the 2 beta characters I made, or the 3 beta characters I made, they're really fun. I remade Broliff, and I did the Ice Crash Marauder, and I did the Reaver, and they were very successful. What else am I forgetting? I'm forgetting the Hegicock, COC, Tornado Shot, Shotgunner. That one's gonna get huge nerfs. But yeah, all around I have so many builds that are my favorite. What's your favorite game excluding PoE? Do you ever play console games? My favorite game outside of PoE was probably a game called Asheron's Call. It was the best MMO I've ever played, even to date. Even after playing World of Warcraft for like 8.5 years, Asheron's Call is the best MMO. It's sad that they didn't, they made an AC2 and it wasn't even like its predecessor. It was just so bad. They tried to make it too much like EverQuest, and Asheron's Call was EverQuest's main competitor at the time. EverQuest is bigger, but I still think Asheron's Call was way better. Do you ever play console games? The last console game I played was on PlayStation 3 called Heavy Rain, and I got stuck on it somewhere and I couldn't progress, so I just quit. So console games aren't really my thing unless it's like Trials Evolution. That I do love. All the Trials games are awesome. Would you consider streaming as a full-time job? Well, streaming and YouTubing, for me at least, is very abysmal financially, and I can't see it being, in the near future, being somewhat sustainable. If it kicked off and it stayed strong, then I would maybe consider it, but it would have to grow like an insane amount. But there's potential, always with new games that come out, and I can reach to a different user base, and maybe it'll kick off that way. I don't know. Let's hope. What do your parents think about you streaming a video game? My parents have always hated video games. They're traditional Asian parents. They're like, "Are you doctor yet?" They think video games are such a waste of time, and they'd much rather me going out and dating and making babies, because they want grandchildren really, really badly. Alright, so Proximal Pyro asks, "Hey, how did you choose your name? Keep up the good work." Well, thanks. I chose my name because of the meaning of it. It's the social ideological influence exerted by an individual or group. It's also a name that represents leadership or dominance, and I felt like that was a good fit. I consider myself somewhat of a good teacher, and I try to reach an audience and lead by example. I've always hated hypocrisy and double standards, and yeah, I really like it. I hope you guys like it too. Adolf Tinker asks, "Hello Hedgie, I want to ask you about your favorite skill gem or build and unique item. It can be a flask, map, or anything else." Well, I'll give you all of them. My favorite skill gem is probably Immortal Call, which is getting heavily nerfed in the beta. The favorite unique, probably Hegemony's era. Favorite flask, Taste of Hate. And favorite map, Plateau. Dr. Volky asks, "Sup Hedgie, okay, I haven't done any research about this, so this info may already be out there. What type of item system do you hope will have the new ARPGs Lost Ark, Lineage Eternal, Umbra have? Would you prefer the itemization to go the Diablo 3 way with the unique sets, or such do you prefer the PoE way with some uniques along with RNG based rares? If the game follows the equipment set path like Diablo 3, will this have an effect on your terms and longevity in the game?" Yes, absolutely. It's a good question. These games, Path of Exile has always been so unique with this crafting system. It's very, very customizable. So customizable so that you can start with 0 properties and then add on each one. And that's what really, really keeps me. I'm such an item enthusiast and an end game enthusiast that perfecting a build or getting it to its full potential means a lot to me. More so than most players. I am an enthusiast. I get hooked on this stuff. Where I see improvement, I try to make improvement, and I set myself realistic goals. What really annoyed me about World of Warcraft was that fact that when a purple set item dropped, there was no variance to, the roles. They were all the same, so they didn't really make it unique. Now this might reach a more, you know, casual audience. For the hardcore gamer, it didn't really have that separation, and it, you know, farming the bosses over and over again didn't really add anything unless you were just like bringing in alts, playing different specs, playing different roles. So yeah, I think that's where the end game kind of falls off for me in World of Warcraft. Is after you get that, you know, first kill, it's on farm, your item drops, and it's not any different than, you know, the other guys. But yeah, I hope that those games have extremely customizable, or at least, you know, variants. It's just so important to, hey, you know, the bottom roll Tarn versus like a perfect Tarn. You know, it's just a perfect example of everybody wants the best shit, and it's competitive and it stimulates the market, and it's much more interesting overall for me, at least. Dad Paginator asks, what's your total value, or what's your total currency value in your stash? What's your password, and what's your account login and email? I've estimated to be, you know, combined total liquided and items, probably around 2,500 to 3,000 exalts worth. Most of it's, you know, 2120 gems or 2023, just because I've messed around with so many builds, leveled up so many characters, and I love to PvP, and I want to see its maximum potential. Which character from PoE do you like the most? I like the Shadow. I'm partial to the Witch. She's super cute, and I love her voice. I love her animations. She has a special spot in my heart. But I'm not preferential when it comes to like making builds. I'll play whichever class I think is the best for that particular setup. So while I do like the way the Witch looks and moves and talks, I'll play anything pretty much. And I have a lot of characters. How much wealth do you have in standard? Probably in liquid currency, about 400, 450 exalts, 25 eternals, a mirror, and like maybe a stash tab and a half of chaos. I have a lot of other stuff, but yeah, that's just a rough rundown of what I can think of off the top of my head. Ray So asks, hey, what's up, man? I just wanted to ask, how do you stay motivated to play PoE even though you play the game for such a long time? Doesn't it get super boring and repetitive after a few months? P.S. Fan from Singapore. So that's a pretty good question that gets asked quite often, maybe like once a week. How do I stay motivated? Honestly, it's just my personality. Since I'm such a perfectionist enthusiast, you know, like I love exploring maximum potential, and it takes a long time to get there in this game because of the, you know, RNG factor. PvP has kept me interested, you know, for the longest time, and without PvP I probably would lose a lot of motivation. After I got my 8 of 8 achievements, I would just probably take a break, but you know, once I get that done, I go into the next thing. I think it's important to set goals, and it's really effortless for me. I know it's a struggle for a lot of people. They just get into a map and they're like, wow, why did I open this map? But for me, I'm like, this is the map that this is gonna drop. This is the map I'm gonna finally completely get whatever I need to finish this build, or I need one more skill point to get there. You know, when there's a lot of efficient and a unique skill nodes or notables, you know, that also helps me and gives me the drive. But yeah, I can understand your concern. I compare it to NASCAR sometimes in Twitch. I say it's just like doing laps and laps and laps, and everybody on Twitch just comes in and they want to watch the crashes, you know, the rips, the burns. But yeah, pretty good question. Do you feel divination cards is a positive thing for PoE? Well, one thing I can confirm is that it's not a negative one. It's all benefit, and I think it's a smart choice for GGG because, you know, you guys always want more content, more balancing, more revisiting of, you know, lackluster areas or skills. And part of the thing that makes PoE difficult is that, you know, you want to keep your supporters happy, and for a timeline, making a unique is very, very time consuming. You have one-on-one time with the developers, and they have to check back, checks and balances, and they have to discuss it, and this is a huge ordeal and a huge process. While they're very appreciative, it just takes so much time, and it puts other things on the back burner, like you guys crave for balance and things like that. So this is a good way that balanced devs don't have to worry so much about new design or potentially scary things. These are things that have already made it into the game, while adding your name or flavor to the game, where you have flavor text and you just feel a part of it. And I guess it puts more stress on the art team than anything. But yeah, very, very cool, and way to support the game without slowing it down, especially when they have like a backlog of uniques that they still need to make and supply. Alright, so let's go down to the next question. It's from Fortuna. What do I do as a viewer who doesn't get support from the stream, or who doesn't support the stream in cash, sub donation, who watches every video and turns into the stream a lot? Well, if you watch every video and you tune into the stream a lot, you're already doing a lot. One thing I would suggest is that you don't run ad block when you watch these things, either on YouTube, or you just can simply whitelist it, so that will just select that particular URL and won't ad block it. So that will generate some ad revenue, but probably the best thing you can do is just word of mouth. Whenever you see a discussion going, oh, what streamers do you watch, or oh, I watch Hegi, or how do you guys handle this, and you go, oh, Hegemony's videos help me out, check out his stream or whatever, or his YouTube. That would be the best way. Word of mouth advertisement would help a lot. It's all too often that my name doesn't even get mentioned, or when people are referring to suggested streams, but it's understandable, and my stream is not for everybody. Icy Venomable says, how do you feel about the survivability difficulty of playing a melee character compared to caster? Pros, cons, risks, reward would be appreciated. I feel like melee is excellent from normal to merciless, and then once you get into like 70 maps and higher, then it starts to get really sketchy. In the end game, once you get all the items that you need, yeah, it's pretty good, and especially ones with shields, definitely, and high evasion or high armor. I don't think casters are in a good spot defensively. They're actually pretty weak, in my opinion. While I will, in my opinion, casters, or any character for that matter, can run pretty much on just life and resist, and through all the content and progression, you can just use flask for everything else. Once you get to high-end maps, the HP is real, the damage is real, and then when you add modifiers to that, that's just like, it's really important that you have defenses. And part of the reason is the Eldritch Battery, Arctic Armor, Mind Over Matter nerf. I think the new meta in its current state of beta is probably going to lean more towards an evasion-based caster with acrobatics, just dodging stuff and still being able to cast your spells frequently and without mana problems. But that's also going to require a lot of gear, a lot of mana regen on it, and good mana prefixes. So that's probably the best and tankiest caster, but to get there is so long. There's a huge gap. So I feel like if you're gonna go caster and hardcore, going into Act 4 with this current state, you might as well just put it on a totem, go dual totems until you're ready to make that transition into acro or phase acro, and go evasion based caster. But yeah, we'll see. Arctic Armor is due to get some kind of revamp. Tempest Shield too. There may be a lot of potential there after it's changed. Rory did mention things about those two specific gems getting some changes or revamps. So hopefully that's the answer to the caster mid game. Okay, I'm asking this because I was thinking of making a typical arc Shadow Witch for the new hardcore leagues when Act 4 comes out. However, since the melee seems to be reworked and EB has been nerfed, I've been considering making the Ice Crash Duelist instead. If you're playing hardcore, I think the best solution is to play a Reaver. Either Dagger or Claw. Claw is going to be a lot easier to start out with because of the life on hit and mana gain on hit. It's going to be easier to support. While it might not be as much damage as Daggers, it's still very new entry level melee friendly, even going crit. Very, very doable. And it was recently buffed too, so. Lars B, okay, that's not an appropriate question. Reaper AOD, I'm from Brazil, quite low on the list. My question is, what is the question you would like me to ask most? I don't know. But I will say, if you are keen on, supporting what I do, outside of, recommending me or sharing the videos and liking them, you can use my Amazon referral link and my G2A referral link. I'll post it in this video, and they can be found on my Twitch stream, twitch.tv/HegemonyTV. And also, if you buy no scopes, I also do get a small commission from that. And I do recommend the Hydras because I wouldn't buy the other ones because I can't vouch for something that I don't own. But the Hydras I do use, I bought 3 pairs myself. They're amazing. How do you feel about the PoE's community ranks in comparison to other games as a content provider? I feel like they're underrated, and the community appeals to, doesn't really appeal to a very casual audience, which is probably where most of the money is at. While we are avid lovers of this game needs to do a little bit more to providing or like holding the new gamer's hand into getting into their systems without being so overwhelming. So any development that they spend, programming that they spend, to ease that process, I think will go a long way as far as drawing in new people. That's one of my major goals, is to constantly keep people interested and get people to download this game and try it out, because maybe they'll be the next, Hegemony who supports the game a lot. That's win. Alright, so Patrick Axberg, Sweden, reporting in. Haven't played PoE and by extent watched your stream for a while, but I'm returning for Act 4 and hoping to see you, more of you then. More LLD videos would be interesting. Are interested to see more late game PvE videos, preferably hardcore and hardcore viable, but anything's fine really. Finally, thanks for your entertainment and see you around. Thanks for the compliments, Patrick. Yeah, more LLD when it comes. Right now it's kind of a mess with the beta and the whole balancing. They're probably gonna have to rework all their attack time values. And with the introduction to new supports, I think LLD can be way more exciting because the realm of possibility with supports and new gems, are definitely gonna mix things up. Fortify in PvP, I don't know how that's gonna work. That's kind of like a balancing disaster in my opinion, but it does what it needs to do in PvE, that's for damn sure. What is my favorite alternate art item in Path of Exile? Well, it is the Sapphel's frame, and without just saying it, I'll show you what it looks like. I do not own this, but I do want it. This is the alternate art Sapphel's frame. I don't know, it probably goes for a couple hundred exalts, but it's amazing looking. I want one of these shields. What is the best tip you can give for new players or making a self-made build? Are there any guides to help new players that will make me make my own builds rather than looking for pre-builded builds on the internet? The best tip I can give you is don't neglect your flask and don't neglect your resist. Those are the most important things. Just because something has life on it doesn't mean it's good. It's, more often than not, I'll go into Merciless with so many pieces of gear with just resist and it has no life on it, and that's fine. That's more important. You got to understand what resistance do as far as like mitigation and effective health. There's no point of having 5k life when your resists are like 20 or 30. You're just gonna get murked. as far as guides to help you make builds. So the first thing I would do is I would look at the gems. Look at the gems, look at how they scale, look how they interact, look at the names at the top where it says AoE support, fire, or cold, duration, and I don't know, something else. But learn the gems and how they work mechanically, then look at the support gems and how they scale and how they synergize. You know, when you're thinking of status ailments, think that as a supplement, as, you know, chance to crit, chance to shock, chance to ignite. Don't try to make builds that do, you know, burn damage but have no ignition damage, either through chance to ignite or crit. But yeah, that's huge for understanding like how to make a strong build. Support gems. So gems, then support gems, then I would do uniques. Uniques would be the last factor, as far as like doing your homework for build making. But that's probably the rundown I would give you. All right, so I would like to put my build I want to play on standard when Awakening comes into YouTube. Do you have any pointers on how to do that? Sorry for bad English. Architect of Cosmos, I would say just give it a good title, give it good tags, and hope for the best. Honestly, if the build is strong, people will come, people will click, and people will like. Other than that, there's not much else I can give you for that. And get a good thumbnail. That also helps. What are you using to get all your wealth? You have so much currency. Or what are you going to use all of your wealth? You have so much currency and it seems like it's just a waste to have it sit in your stash. Well, it's not necessarily a waste, right? Because a lot of it is an investment, or it's getting interest. Like I've had 25 Eternals for the longest time. I bought them a long time ago at 2.0 to 2.5 exalts per, and now they're worth what, 6 or 7. It's ridiculous. So sitting in the stash is not necessarily a bad thing. As far as what I'm planning on doing with it is, I'm just waiting for high level PvP, and then I'll figure out what I want to do and what's the best thing to do for my character, and then I'll invest into that. Since I'm such a there's no point in investing it now, have the entire build set up, and only for the meta to change or the build to completely blow once PvP is released. So anything is possible. There's no reason to use the currency now, and I have plenty of it to do whatever I want. I dislike the new YouTube says. Where do you live and where did you grow up? Let's see, what else? Does he ask anything else? Just in case you weren't aware, personally I like you the most out of all the PoE personalities. It's because you're realistic and you don't pander to fans, and the majority of your fans aren't screaming 12-year-olds. That's why I like my channel too, because it's more mature audiences, and we have really good discussions, and the trolling is at a very, very minimal. I feel like most of the people that watch are very intelligent, intuitive, and they understand a lot of different things. They're not really, really immature. I mean, occasionally we'll have people that come in and troll and just try to wreak havoc, but they get shut down pretty fast. Where do I live and where do I grow up? Where did I grow up? I live in Dallas, Texas. I was born in Tampa, Florida, and I grew up mainly in Texas. I did live in Tampa, LA, Dallas, and even in Korea for short periods of time, but most of my time has been spent in the great state of Texas. Okay. Cambylobacter. Hi, Hedgie. Congrats on the channel views. This is clearly attributed to the fact that Fire Trap is the best skill in PoE. Anyhow, my question is, if you had knowledge you had now, but never had played PoE before, and you could only play one character, what skills would you use? Wow. What skill would I use if I had the knowledge and I couldn't go back to anything else, right? Huh, that's so tough. it would be one that does AoE and single target. Are you gonna make me choose Fire Trap? Because that's what I feel like doing. Fire Trap is good. Um, the Crit Tendriler is good. It's the one hit. It can clear anything. But yeah, probably a tie between Fire Trap and Crit Tendril. Maybe even Power Siphon. I don't know. Well, it depends. I mean, there's so many conditions and variables that play a factor. I mean, I could choose Flicker Strike, but would I have good gear, or would I have good links, and could I support it, or would I have to do it from the ground up? Because there's no way I would do ground up, Flicker with no links and no gear. But yeah, I think as far as leveling to the end game, Fire Trap, Tendril is some of my favorite skills. Okay, Kestri, he says, if you would have to lose either one, which would you choose? Both your arms or your... Okay. We're gonna go ahead and end it here. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for your suggestions, and I hope you guys enjoy this. We may do this on our again, or revisit this at the 2 million marker. But yeah, it was fun answering your questions. Feel free to hit the like and subscribe. Tell your friends, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.